Hi everyone, it's Thursday the 12th of March and we begin tonight with the 9-day working fortnight. First question, whose idea exactly was it? Because as sure as death and taxes, it doesn't seem to have been the government's. It was raised at the Job Summit, yes, but John Key's response, as you're about to hear, was to waffle like a politician.
Yeah, look, obviously the potential for working 9 days with the 10th day of training or community work is one idea that could save a lot of employment as workers share the opportunity to downsize a part of their work day to ensure that all of their mates stay employed.
Waffle, complete and utter waffle. And politicians are most likely to waffle when faced with something they don't really like but can't think of a good reason to oppose. Bill English is from Southland. He doesn't waffle quite so well. In fact, he was quite blunt from the start. Listen.
We can't subsidise the 10th day of every worker's fortnight. That would be far too expensive.
That would be far too expensive. When did you last hear a politician say that, except about something they didn't like? And he went on.
Some people think it'll apply to everybody. That's probably unreal.
Unreal. In other words, they warned us the scheme would be underwhelming, and indeed it was. How underwhelming? Well, many of you won't even qualify at all. If, for example, your workplace employs fewer than 100 people, you can forget it. You don't qualify. If you work in the public service, forget it. You do not qualify, which is pretty important in a city like Wellington. If you are hoping for more than $62.50 for losing that day's work, forget it. That's all the government's going to give you. And even those who are eligible are only eligible for a maximum of 6 months. OK, we're joined now by Paula Bennett, Social Development and Employment Minister, who is in the Beehive. Minister, thanks for joining us. Who is going to sign up for this, notwithstanding the fact that lots of people can't? Of those who can, who will, do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be those employers who have found a drop in productivity, so the orders aren't coming through the same, they're not making the same sales, people haven't got the same demand for their products or their services. As a consequence, they're having to reduce their wage bill, and it'll be those sorts of organisations that will get the most out of this. OK, have you any examples so far? Has anyone come to you and said, gee, thanks, Minister, we're really going to embrace this? Yeah, look, we've sort of heard talk in the last 24 hours that there are businesses that are interested. I had a meeting just today with the unions and Business New Zealand, and the union themselves said they'd already heard from some employers who did not have a unionised workforce but were saying, can you help us pull a sort of agreement together with employees? So
but
there is already a bit of interest out there.
But do you have any names, any companies who you can specifically say are going to embrace this?
No, I don't, and I don't think that's fair. If they're still going through negotiations, I should give them that chance. OK. The problem surely is that $62.50 ain't very much, is it? Particularly when times are hard. Could you not have done better than that? Yeah, look, it was never going to be enough. You know, when you're doing these sorts of things, you know, you're looking at it and you're having to pick a number. We tried to be fair, we tried to be reasonable.
Why that
number?
I
think going for 6 months is something. Well, it's the minimum wage. Imagine if you're paying someone that's on the minimum wage and you're picking an average, they could be getting more an hour.
But it's not the minimum wage for an 8-hour day, is it? Because if you divide it by $62.50 by 8, you get $7.80. It's only the minimum wage if you're working a 5-hour day. In other words, it would seem a woefully inadequate compensation for most full-time workers.
Yeah, we're all having to join in this together, and I think the key to this is the government are doing their bit. Now, we're not doing it all. Everyone's going to feel themselves be hurt a bit through this economic downturn. We haven't got control over that, but we wanted to step up and do our bit to help save jobs, and hence, no, it's not the full amount, but I think it's reasonably substantial. OK. What else can you do? Because if $62.50 isn't enough, and if people who work in smaller companies are excluded, and if everyone who works in the public service, which is tens of thousands of people, are excluded, how are you going to help everybody else? Yeah, well, this is the first step, and I think, we're not even 2 weeks yet from the Job Summit, and we're talking about introducing this on the 27th of March, which is only 1 month. I think it's a fine example that we're moving quickly, but you're right, there's a lot of others we need to pick up, and there's a lot of others that are going to need our assistance. It won't always be in this form, so this top-up allowance is where we've seen it in that direction for these employees. We'll have other ideas and other initiatives, certainly stuff around compliance and trying to make those sorts of costs better for business so that they can keep going.
I'm interested.
But there are a number of other people that are going to need our help.
Okay, I'm interested that you talk about other people you're going to pick up. So is this smaller companies and people in the public sector, is there going to be a similar kind of safety net for them?
Oh, look, probably not similar, but there will be something. I think the top-up allowance has been, reasonably a sort of scheme of its own. How we help those other employees is what we're working on now, but it might look quite different. So the object of this is to save jobs and to keep those companies going. How we do that could look very different than what it does for those businesses with 100 employees or more.
Minister Paula Bennett, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.